Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Academy Pengajian Bahasa. Now, you must be wondering, what is the EET? Why is it important to sit for this test? How will I be evaluated? In this presentation, we will cover the following: what the EET is, why it is mandatory for you to sit for the EET, how you will be evaluated, how you then prepare for the test. Next, we will also address some frequently asked questions. And finally, we will talk about some administrative aspects of the test. Let's begin. What is the EET? It is an English proficiency test for the workplace. The EET gauges your English proficiency. Your results from this test will help your prospective employer gauge how well you will be able to speak and write in English. Most employers require job applicants to have high competencies in English. For example, jobstreet.com, a portal that connects employers with job applicants, has found that prospective employers hire people who are able to work well in English. In other words, employers look for people who have the ability to present ideas, write emails, answer phone calls, negotiate deals, or even make small talk. Basically, they want people who can communicate well. The EET you will be taking soon, before the semester ends, consists of two parts. First, the speaking test. The speaking test is conducted just before the final examination starts. In this test, you are required to do 3 tasks. First, simulated conversation, followed by a job interview, and finally, a short oral presentation. Next, the writing test. This test is taken in the first week of the examination period when you sit for your final examination papers. In this test, you are required to do 2 pieces of writing. First, an email, and next, a short article or part of a report or a proposal. In the speaking test, the 3 tasks will be computer-based, and your responses to the 3 tasks are recorded, saved, and uploaded onto this platform. For the first task, you are required to engage in a simulated conversation. You will listen to a voice that asks you for information. You need to listen carefully to the prompt, and you are given 20 seconds to prepare for what you will say in response. Then, you respond in the time given, which is 1 minute. After that, you save and upload your response. Here is a sample of the question.
English Exit Test. Speaking. Pilot 2016. This test consists of 3 tasks: simulated conversation, job interview, and oral presentation. You are required to listen and respond. Task 1. In this task, you will participate in a simulated conversation. You are given 20 seconds to prepare and 1 minute to respond. Listen to Ida.
My sisters and I are planning a surprise party to celebrate our parents' 40th wedding anniversary, but we haven't decided on what to do. Would really want the special occasion to turn out well for my parents. Do you have any good party ideas?
You now have 20 seconds to prepare.
I think you should try to get something that they actually like. My parents share me a lot of old songs from their time, like Bryan Adams, All for One. Those can be songs that you play in the background. It can be very reminiscent to how they feel when they were younger. You can also put in something that reminds them of how they meet. Like, it's harder for my parents because they meet in New Zealand. I can't bring them there or like show them around, but at least I can put in decorations like All Blacks. My father loves the team, or even something that reminds them of their university life. You can also try to ask their close friends to what you have. I'm pretty sure you are close to some of their children as well. Like, you can ask their parents to see what your parents like or dislike. If it was my parents, I would bring them to a Western hotel or Western buffet restaurant.
End of task 1.
In the second task of the speaking test, you are answering 3 job interview questions. The first question requests background information about yourself. You're given 10 seconds to prepare. Then, you respond in the time given, which is 1 minute. After that, you save and upload your response. Here is a sample of the question.
Task 2. In this task, you will participate in a job interview. The interviewer will ask you 3 questions. Listen carefully. You will be given time to prepare before you respond.
Thank you for being here. We have read your CV, so please let us know why you have chosen this organization.
You now have 10 seconds to prepare. You now have 1 minute to respond.
I actually chose this organization because I really like to do volunteer works, especially around animals. So entering this organization can help me further improve. I also have a lot of verifying degree from camping and survival skill. I even have taken my diving license recently because I like to work in environmental program and saving wildlife and natural forest reserve. So I think if I actually enter this organization, it can help me further improve the environment. And that's something that I really like to see and something that I actually aim for at the end of the day. So why I actually want to join this? Because I see a bigger opportunity for me to further what I'm very interested in, which is saving the environment and helping out the animals in my career.
Very well. I am sure that some of the courses which you took at the university have prepared you well for this position. Could you tell me more about 2 of these courses and their relevance?
You now have 20 seconds to prepare. You now have 2 minutes to respond.
Well, the first course I've taken within language is to be a translator. For me, it's very important for us to communicate with people we are working with, and also for us to understand each other in our purpose and what we fight for. So when we're doing volunteer works, we have a diverse idea of we approach a diverse society. So translating can actually help me understand these people better and can actually help me make sure my friends and colleagues understand where we're going and what kind of approach that we want to have and what kind of achievement and what we are aiming for in that particular program. So translating is something that I very like in terms of how we approach society. Secondly, I think is in business relation and human resource. I think even though it's not particularly concerning language or something that is in particular regarding in particular to volunteer work, the organization skill and how management is very important for us to actually move further in society. So bureaucracy process and also how I want to handle paperwork and who I need to approach to make sure all of our program function is something that I can actually put into perspective in terms of how I'm going to manage the resources and also how I want to approach other people, not just in our organization, but organization abroad for us to work together. And fight within this environment, because even when we're doing something, even when we're doing a lot of volunteer works and a lot of societal approach, we need to work together with other kind of organization and other non-government NGO as well, for us to make sure that our program actually is successful. So translating and also how to manage these resources in terms of office work and make sure that I can approach the society and approach other people.
That's good. Now, if you were appointed the leader of a team for a project, explain how you would manage the team.
You now have 30 seconds to prepare. You now have 2 minutes to respond.
The first thing that I would like to do is to divide each role into the team members so that all of us are more acquainted to what we need to do and the kind of progress that we need to have. The second thing is I want to establish a schedule so that each of us has a mini goal. At the end of the week, what are we supposed to achieve? Who are we supposed to approach? And we need to know what kind of aim that we are at the end of the day. Because sometimes, even though each of us are handling different matters, they are interrelated to each other. So some maybe have less work within a week, but they're still as equally important to make sure that everyone's work is going to go progress hand in hand perfectly. Second is I need to make sure to have someone else to do a supervisional role. Just not just me, but also with another person as well, because I cannot see everything and what everyone is doing, but also we need to work together to make sure that everything is in progress. In terms of what is going to happen, I think that we need to make sure that each person know what they're aiming for and make sure there is already a system in place. We need to also evaluate from the start, who are we approaching, how are we going to approach it, and what kind of who can we actually ask for assistance within the organization. We need to know who the specific role of everyone in the team from the start towards the end. Other than that, just make sure there's a discipline to follow the schedule, to follow the deadline, and also make sure that everyone follows up. Because if one person actually not doing their job, it will affect the performance of the whole family. That's why me and another person will come in as the supervisors to make sure that everyone's roles is in place. And if not, we need to help those people or those group to make sure that their work will be finished by the end of the following week or the next deadline, so that everyone else can move forward.
End of task 2.
The final speaking task requires you to give a 3-minute oral presentation based on information shown on the computer screen. You are given 60 seconds to digest the information and prepare for the presentation. After that, you have 3 minutes to present the information. Here is a sample of the question.
Task 3. In this task, you will give a 3-minute presentation based on the information shown on the screen. You'll be given time to prepare before you present. Situation. One of Malaysia's biggest sources of revenue is from the tourism industry. This is mainly due to its many attractions, including culture, food, shopping facilities, beach resorts, and festivals, among others. You now have 60 seconds to read and prepare. You now have 3 minutes to respond.
Well, first off, we need to understand how tourism works in Malaysia. We need to capitalize on what we can aim and what we want to achieve. Our first main priority is that we have a lot of cultural heritage, and also we are very rich in culture. Not in Malay only, but we also celebrate a lot of diverse culture. So there's cultural festival like Hari Gawai, Taipusam, Tadau Keamatan, or even our own Raya celebration and Chinese New Year. We need to capitalize that to show the people how diverse we are and how integrated we are within society. This can also lead to other things as well. For instance, food and cuisine of different culture, and our restaurants that we promote to other people. We can make sure and show that we are a food heaven, for instance, to other people around the world, showing that there's an integrated culture from all around Malaysia. Second is that there's a lot of events and building attraction within Malaysia. Events like Letua di Langkawi, the Kite Festival, Sarawak Rainforest Music Festival, the Petronas Malaysian Grand Prix can actually be established and show towards attracting other people from other communities around the world. This might be a specialized event that for people who like to expand on kite or even sailing, there's a specialized event for that, but we can capitalize on it to ensure we attract people. Buildings like like modern buildings like Petronas Twin Tower and KL Tower, or even cultural heritage like in Malacca we have the Famosa, the St. John's Fort, can be shown towards other people to attract people who are interested in history, and those are also can be capitalized to increase other revenue. Lastly, we think that there's also a very diverse and rich in nature as well. So we have Mount Kinabalu, we have Gunung Mulu National Park, we're having forest reserve to orangutan, for instance, or even animal like the hornbill and the Malayan tiger. Those are things that we can show towards these people and make sure that they come, especially in the situation where a lot of ecological disruption is happening all around the world. We can make people appreciate nature even more for showing this. It doesn't only stop in forest reserve as well. We can also promote our beaches and also the marine park that we have. In Sabah Sarawak, there's also a very rich marine park that can be shown to people who want to scuba dive or even snorkeling to show them the beauty of nature. Other than that, we see that there's also other places that are very important. Typically things like amusement park and also a shopping center that is allocated towards everywhere else in Malaysia. We cannot forget about that. Even though it's a very generic tourist attraction, Genting Highlands, KLCC, Central Market can also show the tourists what they want at the end of the day. So we don't need to specialize everything, but also...
End of test.
Now that we have explained the speaking test and given you examples, let's look at the next component of the EET, which is the writing test. What are you required to do in the writing test? This is a conventional pen and paper test you take in an examination hall. You need to answer 2 questions. In the first, you are required to write an email of 150 words. Notice that you need to read and understand the situation carefully and write an email in response in the space given to you. The second question of the writing test requires you to respond to a given situation in 250 words. You are likely to be asked to write an article on a job-related situation or provide recommendations in response to a job situation. Notice that you need to write and understand the situation carefully and write response in the space given to you. Now that you understand what the EET is all about, you may want to know how your performance is evaluated. Your performance will be assessed based on the levels developed by the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, or commonly referred as the CEFR. First, for speaking, you'll see that there are 3 broad categories. The first is the basic level of proficiency, A1 and A2. The second is the independent level, B1 and B2. The third is the proficient level, C1 and C2. You'll see that there are 3 broad categories. The first is the basic level of proficiency, A1 and A2. The second is the independent level, B1 and B2. The third is the proficient level, C1 and C2. Now that you know about the levels, you may be wondering what CEFR level employers expect of candidates. The requirements will depend very much on the nature of the job, as stated clearly in job advertisements or job specifications. Most employers, if not all, would expect a B2, high independent user, for both speaking and writing. Of course, a C, either C1 or C2, proficient user, is highly valued by employers. Now that you know the expectations of employers, you will need to strive to meet their expectations and get yourself placed on a high level. Is it possible? Of course it is, with enough preparation. First, get a copy of the EET textbook, published by the UITM Press. How do you use this book to prepare for the EET? Go through all chapters carefully, paying special attention to the language expressions. Study the sample answers and read these sample responses aloud. Reading aloud and recording your own practices are helpful in showing you what to say in the time given. Paying attention to the sample responses to the written tasks will also help you to understand the requirements of the written tasks and respond appropriately. Students have asked some questions about the EET, including the administrative aspect of the test. And here are our answers. If you have questions which are not answered here, feel free to contact your faculty. Alternatively, you could visit the website of the Academy Pengajian Bahasa and post your questions there. What is the EET?
It's an exit test. It measures your English language proficiency. You'll take 2 tests at 2 different times. You'll take the speaking test first, followed by the writing test.
What is the EET for?
The EET results give your prospective employers a good idea or a gauge of your English language proficiency.
Why do I need to take the EET?
You'll need to take it to fulfill an exit requirement according to UITM's academic regulations. If you don't take it, you'll not be able to graduate even if you have completed all your courses.
When do I take the EET?
You'll take it when you are in your final year in the semester before you graduate. You will have passed all the required English courses in your study plan.
How do I register?
You'll register via the student portal within the add-drop period as stated in the UITM academic calendar. Consult your faculty on registration-related matters.
Is there a fee?
Yes, the fee is 30 ringgit.
What happens if I miss the EET even after I've registered?
You'll need to contact the faculty immediately or within 24 hours and your faculty will tell you what to do.
When will I get my result?
You'll receive your results the following semester.
How will the EET results be presented?
You'll receive your results the following semester from the student portal.
Can I retake the EET for better results?
Certainly. You can always resit, but you'll need to register for the test again and pay the fee of 30 ringgit again. Do contact your faculty for more information.
Now that you know about the EET, prepare well. Remember, help is given in the prescribed EET book published by Academy Pengajian Bahasa and the UITM Press. You will have ample language expressions to draw on to help you prepare well for all the speaking and writing tasks. Remember that when you are preparing for the EET, you are also preparing for workplace-related tasks and your job interview. Have fun!